Hello there, boys and girls. Let's talk about the excretory system today. So it's topic 3.4, excretory system. It's not a long lesson, so you guys should be able to whip through that and then maybe work on your digestive tail or your application questions or all the other fun things I've given you. So here we go. So first off, let's talk about the process of excretion. When you hear excretion, what do you think of? I think of O&P. That's not actually the only thing that there is with excretion. Excretion is simply the process of removing your waste. Okay? The excretory system is responsible for this process. So getting rid of waste is all from the excretory system, almost. The excretory system must eliminate the waste from the body and from all of the other systems. So here we go. Here's the excretory system. It's responsible, like I said, removal from waste from the body. Some of these wastes are carbon dioxide. Okay, so we've talked about carbon dioxide when we talked about the respiratory system. The excretory system aids in getting rid of that carbon dioxide. Ammonia, which is from the digestion of protein. So this is a waste from the digestive system. Salts, which we have in our body. And some of the organs that are involved in the excretory system. There's a lot of them, but we're not going to go into detail on all. We've got the lungs. So remember, the lungs were part of the respiratory system, also part of the excretory system, an organ that's involved in two systems. We've got the liver. Here's our nice big liver. Okay, we talked about the liver, how it was used in the digestive system, also used in the excretory system. Actually has a very big role. And then we've got our kidneys, bladder, and ureter. Let's make this bigger. Kidneys right here, bladder, and then the ureters, the tubes that lead down to the bladder. Oops. Okay, and lastly, our skin all over. I'm showing you guys my excretory system just by looking at it. All right, we're going to start with the liver. The liver actually converts ammonia, which is very, very toxic, from protein digestion into a less harmful substance called urea. So when we're eating things, particularly protein, ammonia gets created. Ammonia, very, very toxic to us. So it goes to the liver. When it gets to the liver takes it and converts it to the less harmful urea. Urea still is toxic to us. It's not as bad as the ammonia. Okay, the urea then gets put back into the bloodstream. So it goes from the liver, the blood goes into the liver, they remove the ammonia, it removes the ammonia, does a little bit of fancy chemistry, converts it to urea, and then it puts it back into the bloodstream. Okay, and like I mentioned before, the liver is part of the digestive system. Okay, then we've got our trusty kidneys. Right here, the kidneys, these kidney bean-shaped things, okay? The kidneys filter out or take out or remove any excess water, salt, and the urea, which was put back in from the liver, from the blood, okay? And this produces a substance called urine, which we've all heard of. When you go to the washroom, when you take a pee, that is the urine that gets eliminated. So the liver takes the ammonia out of the blood, converts it to urea, which is still toxic, but then puts it back in the blood, and then the blood heads off to the kidneys, and the kidneys now remove that urea. There are these tiny little things. You don't need to know about this for this here, but we're going to go over it. There's these things called nephrons, which are inside the kidneys. Pop open my kidney and sort of see some of that stuff. The nephrons are the filter units in the kidneys, okay? The blood enters the kidney from an artery, okay, to the nephron, okay? And it separates wastes from the blood. So it takes the waste out of the blood, okay? And it produces urine, which is collected in a duct, okay? And the filtered blood then returns to a vein, returns to the veins through a vein. So enters through an artery, leaves through a vein, because remember, the veins go to the heart. And they are very, very effective. Our kidneys are great. They are so, so effective, okay? Approximately 180 liters of blood is filtered every single day, okay? And out of that 150 liters of blood, they only produce approximately 1.5 liters of urine, okay? So 1.5 liters of urine is what gets produced. Okay, that's why we as teachers sometimes question when students have to go to the washroom every single day. Science tells us it's only 1.5 liters of urine a day that gets produced. So what if our kidneys don't work? I'm sure you guys have heard of situations where maybe a kidney doesn't work, or maybe you've heard of people surviving with only one kidney. Okay, if kidneys don't work, you have to go through a process. So if both kidneys are shot, you have to go through a process called dialysis. Okay, and dialysis is actually the removal of waste products from the blood using a machine. Okay, so our kidneys aren't working, so they use a machine that does the same job as the kidneys. So when a person undergoes dialysis, they have to the blood flows into a special tubing, okay, inside this machine, and that tubing is made of a selectively permeable membrane, very important term we've heard before, that allows only certain substances to diffuse through. Okay, this tubing is surrounded by another fluid. Okay, and then the waste from the blood diffuse out of the blood into the fluid, and certain substances from the fluid diffuse back into the blood that help the person survive. And then the blood actually gets pumped back into the person. So this is something that individuals that have to go through dialysis, that have faulty kidneys, they have to deal with this for a majority of their lives. Okay, and it is kind of a cumbersome thing. It takes about 4 to 6 hours, and some individuals have to go every day. Some can go 3-4 times a week, or 2-3 times a week. It all depends on the severity. So it's obviously a very, very inconvenient thing for the individuals, but of course it allows them to live. I personally had an uncle that had to go through it, and it wasn't pleasant for him. He'd have to go through all different times and whatnot, and obviously it affected his personal life, his work life. He ended up having to work a lot of evenings, and it just wasn't pleasant for him. Here's a beautiful picture showing the dialysis, the blood coming out of the body through an artery, just like it is in your kidneys, goes through the dialyser, the machine here, and then the clean blood gets put back into the body. If you go onto the D2L, if you actually access this PowerPoint on D2L, there's actually a link here. You click the link and it takes you to a pretty cool video on the 2 different types of dialysis. I will also try to remember to post the link onto D2L that goes along with this video. Next, we have urine excretion. So that's going pee, right? Okay, the ureters are long tubes that connect the kidneys to our bladder. Okay, the bladder is a sac covered in, the kidneys is the bladder is a sac covered in muscle tissue. Okay, as the urine enters the bladder expands and gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it can't expand anymore and you have to go to the washroom. Okay, the bladder can store up to 1 liter of urine. Okay, so here's my cup that I sometimes bring to school. Okay, this cup is less than 1 liter. Okay, and all of this should be able to fit into the bladder, and the bladder should be okay before bursting. You have to run out and do a pee-pee dance and has to go to the washroom. Okay, when it is full, the bladder muscles contract, push the urine out through the urethra, and that's how you go pee. Very, very entertaining stuff going on here today. Next, we have our skin. Obviously, the skin throughout our whole entire body. This is part of the excretory system. As the picture shows, that is the way our skin excretes substances and whatnot, okay, is through sweat glands. So when we're sweating, we're actually getting rid of things. The sweat is produced too. We've learned this in other years, is to keep us cool, right? You're outside exercising, playing soccer or something, you start sweating a lot, that sweat evaporates, that evaporation leaves us cool. But there's also something else that's getting removed, okay? So there's evaporative cooling, and then the other thing it removes is salt, so excess salt. I know this sounds gross, don't do it now, especially the situation that's going on, but I'm sure you've tasted your sweat, if it's dripping down your face, maybe you lick your lips or something, okay? Or a little bit afterwards, you sort of see some little white substances on your skin, okay? Or you lick your hand, I don't know, to each their own. You taste that salt that your body is getting rid of. That's it, okay? It was a pretty straightforward section. We went through it fairly quickly. Know the excretory system. You're going to have some questions on it. Know how it works with the The circulatory system, particularly when the circulatory system delivers the blood to the liver, how it gets rid of that ammonia produced by the digestion of proteins and makes it into a less toxic poison to us, urea, which ends up by going into the kidneys and then it collects into the bladder. We might be asking you questions like, why, when we go to the washroom sometimes and you look in the toilet, our urine is really, really yellow, and why other times maybe it's a little bit clear, okay? Something for you guys to think about. Why do you think that is the case? What is the issue when the urine's a little bit more yellow than when it's clear? Not talking about any health issues or conditions. Can happen perfectly normally. You can be a healthy person, but maybe your urine be a little bit yellow one day and the next day it's a little bit more clear. Why is that? Okay, so that's it for now. It was a shorter video, so it gives you some time to work on your assignments, your projects, not check and reflect, application questions, those types of things. Until tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the nervous system, or the next class will be the nervous system, and then we're going to be talking about diseases. And then we're done the unit. I'm going to come up with some sort of quiz, exam, test, assessment type of thing for you guys, and then we're going to be moving on to the next unit. So until tomorrow, we'll see you later.